Okay, looks like we are live. And boom, there we go. Hey everyone, this is GeoWill from Productions², and we're back to do a little bit more streaming for tonight. I decided to do this now because I actually got done with the thumbnail a bit sooner than I thought I would. It's not anything kind of crazy, it's just... I think there's a little bit of stuff in there that I did some pen tool work with for the clock bit here. But the rest of it's pretty simple, just text with some different fonts and kind of skewed, certain types of skewed fonts. Like this is a font that's skewed all the way over this way. It's normally way more over this way. It's actually a version, it's actually this font, but skewed further, way over to the right. Like if I select this, you'll see how far skewed it is. That's how, it's usually like really over to the, it's a really italicized kind of font. Like if I'm going to see if I can unskew it here. Actually, what I want to do is I want to select that, then go T, then skew. It's normally kind of like this, I think. Yeah, kind of close to that. But I didn't want to have it be like that, so it's like this. Yeah, nothing special. Just some. This is mostly. These are actually shapes, but the rest of it's all pen work and some circular marquee based kind of stuff here. Nothing too fancy. Just something that's kind of resembles the image that I used for. Go ahead and close that. Hide that. So it's kind of resembling what this is here. Minus the second inner section there and the Roman numerals. I just wanted to like kind of have it be similar to this so that it would kind of call back to the trailer a little bit. Yeah, it took me about 45 minutes in total to do it all. Some of that was trying to figure out why having shapes on the not shapes, but having paths on the work area caused Photoshop to just totally crap out and wouldn't work for the shape tool, but whatever. Just decided to take what I had done and say, okay, that's probably as good as it's going to get for now, and then turn the paths into selection areas, and then fill them in, and then did the blending options on them. After that, the shape tool worked, so something weird with that. But that's all ready to go. We got the first 5 ready, first 5 thumbnails ready. I'll upload those tomorrow morning and then release them. Probably before the stream tomorrow morning. Well, I don't know if I'll do a stream tomorrow morning or not. So what we're going to be doing now, though, is we're going to be working on the plugin. Going to continue what we started earlier this morning. So, let's see. Let's grab all this stuff, bring it open. To be honest, I could probably close this. I don't think I have anything else from Czar open. Don't need that anymore. So I did get the that other server up and the other computer up and running I was talking about. Is actually the Cabal server that we had our Cabal Online server running on that. So I already have Windows XP on it. I tried installing Diablo 2. I haven't tried doing Age of Empires 3 yet. But for whatever reason, probably because the CPU is crap. It's a Pentium 4 or something. I'm not able to... Well, there's a couple things. First of all, when I'm running TeamViewer on it, the thing just slows down like all hell. And second, I guess because XP is such an old operating system, it can't send sound through the internet. It's TCP/IP connections, so we can't get sound over on this computer. So we couldn't record it over a TeamViewer, even if it was running better than it is with this running on the other on that computer. So I'm still looking for how we're going to do that. So damn sure, I am damn sure that computer is not going to want to even try to run Even maybe not like OBS probably wouldn't even forget it would just kill it probably, if it even could run. So I'm thinking about maybe making some sort of retro build where I am going to build a system that's XP compatible but has, you know, high enough end stuff that we can actually team view into it. Oh, we wouldn't be able to team view into it, would we? Because of the audio issue. Maybe a new Windows 7 or Vista system that would be able to play those games, because Windows 7 is able to play 16-bit games on it. And even, well, I don't know what they did. Maybe not 8.1, because I don't know what GOG did to this Czar Burn of the Crown. I had read somewhere that after on Windows 8 and later, they actually just totally deleted out the 16-bit interface that was in there with Windows 7 that made things backwards compatible with XP and older operating systems in terms of like programs and games and things, which is kind of a dick move. But if we're trying to get people to switch off them, or trying to, I don't know, maybe there was some sort of legit reason they had to do that. TeamViewer is running. I don't care. I want it to close. Go away, TeamViewer. What is Impulse? Impulse. GameStop just totally destroyed Impulse. I think they had it running for a while and then they stopped. They like just canceled it, period. And I'm not sure. I think some of the stuff I had on there I can't get to anymore. I could probably get it on Steam though, so it's not that big a deal, but I have to rebuy it. That's just kind of it's not quite as bad as Direct to Drive's thing. It got bought and then killed by some other company. I forget who now, but at least they left things up for quite a while. I mean, GameStop just basically said, "Oh, we're not going to use Impulse anymore, so go to hell." I won't even update properly so I can try and connect to the server to try and even download things. So whatever. What else is running? I don't even know what's running in the background anymore with this thing. Let's see what we got. AMD Gaming Evolved, whatever. GOG, Galaxy. It's fine. What's this? Foxit. Just the rest of the normal stuff. Okay. However, I'm pretty damn sure this is totally boned. Oh no, never mind. I just had to reopen it for it to reconnect. The driver for the keyboard crapped out earlier this morning, when I was streaming, which is not unusual for Logitech gaming software to do, but I thought it was kind of interesting that I just decided to crap out for no particular reason. Anyway, so we did some stuff in the morning. We added the parameters for the colors, and then went about adding in a way to create bonds dynamically through plugin commands, using this awesome regex match script that we worked out. All this we've verified is correct now, so what we have to do is, instead of throwing it into VARs to check it, we need to actually pass it to that function that we created earlier, add bond info. So that is what we will do. I actually want to grab the function definition and this, so I know what we need to pass through in which order. Probably would say anyway. Well, let me see. Actually, we could just say, well, could we? No, because in this case, we're not calling bank open. This is before bank open, so we have to get the bank. So, their bank, or we'll say cur bank, so we're not overriding any global values here. Equals game banks dot get bank. Now we're going to pass through reg ex. Well, first we got a percent. I'm just thinking that because create bank record, because the bank isn't actually created till after that, isn't it? That's true. So I think what we'll need to do is, well, so even though if we do that though, um, hmm, interesting. So I'm just thinking about this now. If we're calling this before we call the open bank for the first time, this bank won't actually exist yet because it won't have been created yet. Now, if you've already gone there once and you're loading up a save, it doesn't really matter. But at the same time, though, thinking about this again, this should only happen the first time you open it too. So if the bank exists and if... Ooh, yeah, that's kind of interesting. I didn't also think about that. And so what I'm thinking about now as I'm going through this is now, anytime you go to this bank, it's going to run these bank commands, these add bond commands. So we have to say, I guess we have to check if the ID exists before we create it, and if it does, don't. The question becomes, though, what if you want to update? But at the same time, it doesn't really matter because so let's say that you want to update what the bond is. Well, maybe you have a different thing called update bond or something. That would, yeah, we'll have probably a new one that's called bank ID update bond and all the stuff, all the options. It's thinking about all this stuff, and it's like, I'm wondering if this is the way we should do things. Or if we should just say, well, again, here's the problem. If you want to have every bank to have their own bonds, we can't put anything in the plugin that would be a hard-coded thing for it, because then it wouldn't work that way. Because anytime you create a bank, it would all have the same bonds. If we want to do it this way, though, it gets crazy complicated, because first we have to check if the bank actually exists. If it doesn't yet exist, then we have to create it. Problems with this is that we don't actually have the interest information. Now what we could do is we could say, okay, when we call bank open, we check to see if the bank exists already. If it does, then we check to see if any of the values are different, and if they are, we update the values. We could do it that way. Then the other question is, what about updating bonds? Well, let's see. Let's say that for updating bonds, do we want to have to input every value, or say bank ID, bond, update bond ID, then the value to update, and have one entry for every update that you want to do to the value for a bond? Question is then, is that too many plugin commands, because then you'd have to do that for every bond you want to update, for every value of every bond you want to update. So I think what we would do is that the update bond would be the same as the add bond. It'd be called update bond, obviously, because it'd be different functionality, but you'd still have all the same parameters. You have to pass through everything, and then you would just update any values that are different. So okay. First, we want to say, okay, first thing we have to do is does the bank exist? So if game banks and that's that regex expression.1. Alright, so if the bank already exists, then we do whatever. If it doesn't exist yet, then we have to do this other stuff. So, let's do this part first. Or actually what we could do is say this, and then not do an else. Just have this there. so that if the bank doesn't exist, that we create it, then we just execute the next section of code, which will happen regardless of if the bank is there or not, because we're going to assume that if the bank is there, we just continue from there. So if the bank doesn't exist, we need to create it. So then we got to call, so create bank record, else game banks dot add bank, parse int regex then the interest, or no, that's not the interest. So we're just going to put 0 for everything else. Or new state.parse 0. So that'll create the bank record. And we're going to say interest is 0 because we're not passing through the interest at this point. And so we'll do some extra stuff on the create bank record when we're doing that. So now next we need to see if the bond exists or not. So I guess in a way, if you think about it, actually we should probably call it create bond function. Think about it. And bank ID, bond ID, bond name, cost, mature value, mature time, and then help text. Alright. And then we can just move this down to there. And then we just call just move all these things up in this order into our function call. Okay. Now, alright, so if bank doesn't exist, create it. Now, we want to call the we want to get the bank now that we've created it, or that we've determined that it needs to be created or not. Alright, so we got our bank. Next we want to, so we want to determine if bonds exist. So how do we want to approach this? If bonds already exist, then we don't want to add them, or if the bonds already exist, we want to remove them and then add these ones in. I would lean towards the former, because if there are already bonds in there, there's a good chance that they're either the same values or that they're updated values and don't need to be changed if we're just adding them. On update, we will want to go through and say update these. So I guess we want to see check if any bonds exist. So I guess we want to create a function that will return so boolean do bonds exist. And then we just want the bank ID. So return game banks, or this underscore banks. Bank ID. So bond info dot counts, or length, I guess, is greater than 0. So if true, return true, or return false. So if game banks dot b do bonds exist. So if they don't, then I'm going to create them. So okay, here's, well, that's not really, because you're adding them one at a time and adding a bunch at once. Crap. So we'll do an else here then. So if they do exist, we need to check to see if the bond with the ID we're looking to add already exists or not. If it does, we skip it. If it doesn't, we add it. So so if no bonds exist, then we just call and I don't know why we don't actually need to do it that way. Okay, add bond info. We'll need to grab our, because it doesn't, that's right, it doesn't, may not show the proper order of things here, so let's throw that up there. So actually these should be in the proper order for this. I just have to take this and copy it down here, and that should be the proper order. Now, we need another function to see if there is a bond info. So game banks type dot b does bond exist. So bank ID and then bond info ID. And again, then return this underscore banks, bank ID. Bond info. So now we want to see if this, so I guess is not equal null. We'll see if that works. Not sure that'll work or not, but we'll see. So if game banks dot b does bond exists, so if it doesn't exist, then we do the same thing. If it does exist, then we just skip it. Now on the create bank, if game bank exists, bank blah 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 blah. Bank ID. So first of all, let's check if interest is 0. If so get interest. So bank ID be int. Oh, we just need the bank ID. I copied them from the other ones and didn't remove the additional things there. Actually, I don't think I used them because I'm actually grabbing the bank and accessing them directly. But in this case, we're going to be needing to use this, so I'll have to fix that. Alright, so I would have had to fix that anyway, so where were we? Add bank, create bank record, here we go. So if I get interest, bank ID, now it is possible, and we'll put an and here. It is possible the interest could be 0. If it's not, then we want to update it. Okay. Check if bank interest and then update it if it isn't. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so now The bank now has this this thing in there now that we have for these options. So we need to come down here and we need to like completely change how this works. So how would we? Maybe what we'd do is we'd say this could maybe become. So this is a name. Biomon gets selected action, see name. Is there a way we could actually make this into an ID instead? And so we're running into the same issue where. Okay, no, never mind. This part is we're just selecting the bonds to create from. Now, could you have a bond that's the same name? Yes. Is the system going to be designed for that? No. So that would be a bug that would be created. That's not really a bug, but it's an undocumented feature. Because it's just, I don't think there's a way to handle that properly, because let's say you have two bonds, same name. Player selects the second bond to buy. The commands that you're selecting and then having saved are going to be based on the text that you're selecting from the command, I think, because there's no index. What I found is when you do the command list through the CList object, it pulls in, through the COMList object, it pulls in the text, not the index of the thing, I think. I could be wrong about that, but let me see. Index, strong index. Yeah, so the index is the text. It's not the number. That's why when you draw the action item on these, it draws out the text. Well, no, I'm wrong. It does do the index, at least for drawing, but what about selecting? Okay, no, yeah, it does do it. Never mind. I am talking out of my arse. It does do the index. And then what I'm just doing is I'm taking the COMList index. Now the problem here is the index is 0. Actually, that could work, because as long as you start your first, as long as you follow a 0 index-based ID numeration for your bonds, that will work, because this will be bond 0, bond ID 0, bond ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You start this on 1. There's no hope for you. You are a lost cause if you use 1 for an ID for the first item. I'll have to make a note of that in the plugin help or description or something to make the bond start on ID start on 0 instead of 1. So that could work using just the ID. Now the question is, because this has got to change too. So we aren't passing through the bank. We'll have to pass through the bank now. So bank. And then these lists have to be built based on the bank. So kind of similar to how the sell window works now. That's how the buy window is going to work. Just kind of annoying, but there's nothing we can do about that. I need to go up to the scene. I'm not in the scene stuff yet. Like, where's the thing for the thing? Scene bank prototype depot. Okay, sell, buy, withdrawal. No, lower than that. Window, buy, bond. Yes, here we go. I was going to pass through bank, I think. Yeah. So I don't think we have to update the bank. The bank should be updated when we do actions on the OKs. So the bank should be updated by the time we do anything here. So that should be fine, just to pass it through like that. And maybe in a proper world we would update it, but, well, I'll update it if we run into any issues. I don't think we will, though. At least not passing the bank directly in there without updating it. It should be updated by that point if we do anything to it. So when to buy bond, all this stuff's going to change. So going to need to store the bank first of all. So this to underscore bank equals bank, and then we need to call this dot setup. And then we need to do a setup thing similar to what we're doing on the other one. So window by bond dot prototype dot setup function. All right. And I think we'll stop there and we'll pick this up tomorrow morning. But what we're basically going to do is we're going to do what we did with the sell bond window, which is to do a, we're going to pull the bank in, pull out the bond information, and then do an object.keys for each loop, and pull out all the information and throw it into these two lists, and format it and do whatever we need to do. I'm just thinking about this now, because on the one we're just saying test or whatever, we're not actually showing, because on this one now we have this period here, and these are ends too, which are not words. And the way that we're working on the thing up here is, we'll have to take a look at that tomorrow morning too, I think. So we come back up here to the regex. The last one is, yeah, so it's word dot anything in between another word and then ending with a, well, this is supposed to represent any character. So maybe it would work. Let me just see real quick. I think I still have that open up in the, I just want to grab this really quick. Go see what happens on this regex. Please still be open. No, you're not open. Oh yeah, you are. Never mind. Never mind, you are still open. I just copied it instead of pasting. Typical. Yeah, like totally just. Oh no, never mind, it does select it. Isn't this supposed to like highlight different sections of what it actually selects? See details for 3 more. Oh cool, it does work. Nice. That's interesting. Match 0. Okay, match 0 meaning the entire thing, I guess. But I'm looking at, we need to look at the groups, not the match. Yeah. Okay, cool. It works. I actually did modify it though. We took out these. So I wasn't sure if that would work properly or not in terms of like parsing it. So you're basically parsing the string out with that in it. And it still works. Okay, good. Now, what if we have the proper bond name? I think it would still work. So let's say, I guess we'll pick one. Doesn't really matter which one. Yep, still works. Perfect. Awesome. Awesome. So we don't have to worry about that at all. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, that's gonna work then. I love it when regex just works. There's so many times it just doesn't work. Okay, let's load off online. All right, so yeah, we'll when we do this tomorrow, come in tomorrow, or start streaming tomorrow morning after I've uploaded the videos and released them. We will work on building this out. So, yeah, and then we'll see if it's all working or not. There's going to be issues. I mean, there's no way there's not going to be problems. That way. I mean, this level of modification is going to have probably some pretty big bugs in it that we'll have to fix. But if it works the first time, I'd be happy. Almost nothing works the first time. Nothing complicated, let's put it that way. Sometimes it's happened with me, but almost never happens. So if it does, that'd be awesome. But thanks for watching the stream, for watching on YouTube afterwards. Comments or questions, leave below. I'd appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel, and I will see you tomorrow morning, where we will continue to work on this. Getting pretty close to done with it, actually. So this will be my second completed plugin conversion from ARM RPG Maker XP, an RPG Maker XP script to ARMMV.